Hi, Pastor Charlie here from New Hope Lutheran Church. Welcome to Pastor Charlie's Toolbox. Today, we're going to talk about wood. And I'm sure we all know there are a variety of types of wood out there, but we might not all realize that the different types of wood have different properties. Now, myself, I like to work with softwood, things like pine or spruce or cedar. They cut easily on a saw or using a chisel, even a knife, and they also keep your tools sharp a little longer than hardwoods do. They work nicely. So, then I'll just show you. This piece of spruce I have here, it planes nicely. You can do a nice job, get those nice curly tailings. It's good to work with. Of course, that doesn't mean I totally despise any hardwoods. Hardwoods, like this oak for instance, they're stronger and will take more of a licking. And if you take a look at this piece, let's take a close-up look, you'll notice there's a beautiful grain on it as well. And the color is nice too, nice brown and oak. So there is a beauty to hardwoods that you don't necessarily find in softwoods. Plus, with softwoods, sometimes what you'll find is there's knots in them. Knots like this one running right across, or these little ones here. And that's where the branches were sticking out of the trunk of the tree. And they can be problematic because the grain of wood, where it has grown, is this way, but with knots, the grain is a different direction. So you got to work around that with softwoods. They can be hard to smooth out sometimes when they're knotty like that. The point is that while I may have a preference for working with certain types of wood, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate the properties of other types of wood. Every one of them has their own beauty and their own purpose. And that brings me to our lesson for today from Matthew 15 here. In that lesson, Jesus comes across a person who is different. It's a Canaanite woman, someone with a different background from the very Jewish people Jesus often kept company with. We might want to note that she comes to him not for her own self, but begging on behalf of her daughter. And what should strike us as strange in this encounter is that Jesus starts out the conversation by treating her in much the same way that so many people treat others who are different from themselves. He starts off by ignoring her, and then, when she pesters him, he actually insults her. Something I strongly feel needs to be pointed out here is that this is not normal for Jesus, and it shouldn't be normal for us either. But in this case, Jesus is actually helping her. He's helping her to discover the strength of her faith. A faith that is so strong that neither being ignored or even insulted will stop her faith. Think about that for a minute. How many of us just give up when ignored or insulted because of our faith? This woman didn't. Something else we can learn from this lesson is how precious outsiders are to God. It didn't matter to Jesus where she was from or what her background was. What mattered was that she had this unwavering faith, her belief in him. And that was what made her part of God's family. So, just because there are a variety of woods with all their different properties of hardness or grains or colors or strength, it doesn't necessarily mean that any one of them is really better than another. And Jesus shows us today that the same applies to people. What counts to Jesus is not our visible features, but the thing that often cannot be seen, which is faith, our faith. And that becomes visible to others in how we act.